Company 4 is far.
Have a seat. So, recruits, as discussed, we're doing a review of the Deutsche Bank Fire today, and with us we have a special guest and a special speaker with us, Jimmy Sands from the FDNY. Who will be doing a review of his account of the experience of the Deutsche Bank Fire. Goes without saying, give his utmost respect in listening to his presentation. Without further ado, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Thanks, boss. First of all, congratulations on all of you for your appointment into the fire service. In a show of hands, volleys. How long?
2 years, 3.5.
Okay. So, the way that I talk about certain things, I want you guys to feel comfortable. Kind of like we sit at the kitchen table of the firehouse. That's pretty much what this is going to be about, but it's going to get serious too. Your survival week, you know, being a firefighter, first responder, you put yourself in situations that when you get up in the morning, you go to work. It could be a normal day, you go run a couple fire calls, EMS calls. The day could be just like today, nice blue sky out, kind of like 9/11, beautiful day out. These guys all went to work, and what happened? They're in the most hellacious experience of their lives. Deutsche Bank was one of those days. I'm going to share with you my account. I was appointed in 2004 to Engine 10, Ladder 10 House, down by the Trade Center. That's where they put me, and I got to tell you, it was pretty awesome to go down there. Not only did I get to go see the Trade Center site, you know, as it was being rebuilt. I met a lot of firefighters from around the world. Met a lot of firefighters that worked 9/11. Learned a lot about 9/11 from the folks that were there. I did a 90-day detail in Ladder 1. So if you're in the engine, you do a 90-day detail to a truck company somewhere in your battalion. So I got some pretty good experience in one truck, went back to my company, and do a lot of really pretty cool things. Did a lot of really messed up things. A lot of people run over by trains because, you know, why not just jump into the train path as it's coming down to the station and get yourself wrapped up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm not trying to get some kind of rest. You guys can laugh, it's okay. I'm very, very easygoing. What I'm going to talk to you about today is Deutsche Bank. Deutsche Bank, if you guys read up on it, was a 41-story building that was being deconstructed. Some of these slides you're going to see, Tower 2 literally fell into the Deutsche Bank building. You had debris, you had sadly bodies, you had a lot of stuff that got into that building. And we got this call. I'm going to go over with you exactly what happened from when I first got in and what it was like for the next 3 days. So bear with me. If the clicker works, great. If not, the building, which originally stood at 41 stories, was reduced to 26 stories after demolition. It was an estimated 45 engine companies, 30 truck companies, 3 rescues, 19 battalions, 4 deputies, numerous staff on scene. 115 of us were hurt that day. 46 needing medical attention, including me and my backup. 2 firefighters lost their lives. It was Bobby Padilla, Joe Graffinino. The weird thing about this fire, science says that smoke, fire, and heat all rises, right? No. I can tell you this fire started on the 17th floor and dropped down as low as the 12th floor. There was reasons for that. The building was under deconstruction. They were taking it down floor by floor. And as you'll see through these slides, I'm going to point out different things. When you go to your fire academy, when you get to a building, you size up that building, right? Do we really know what's inside? With the way things are today, the way things were in 2007, we didn't inspect this building. There was a reason. It was a hazardous material building. Not that long before this fire, they found body parts on the roof from 9/11. 2001 and 2007, there were still bone fragments on the roof. It was a hazmat building. There was a cover-up with the job and the city. My captain, who just got assigned, Captain Pete Bosco, he literally got assigned to 10 Engine, went on vacation, this fire happened. They pulled him out offline. They had him on the sidelines because they said it was his responsibility to have us go into the building and inspect. Well, we didn't go into that building to inspect it because of the hazardous material. You got 9/11 debris, you got asbestos. You name it, it was in that building. So how the building, I get to use my fancy laser pointer today. This is what the building looked like, maybe it don't work, just after 9/11. So they had that shroud. That flag right there, believe it or not, is the National 9/11 flag. That flag was hanging up there. I actually personally took that flag to 46 of the 50 states while we restored it. It got beat up pretty good in the aftermath of 9/11. This is the day of the fire, August 18, 2007. It's 3:39 in the afternoon. Beautiful day. And again, there's just a couple pictures on here, so if you guys have a vantage point or a reference, where Deutsche Bank was just south of Tower 2. Joey Graffinino, Bobby Badia, 2 firefighters from 24 and 5 that we lost that day. So, I was trying to get the audio for you guys so you can hear the actual dispatch. My other presentation kind of went missing, but I have a transcript of what we heard. So I'm gonna go over with you guys, and if you have any questions, raise your hand or just talk right out. Ask me. I'm here to answer and ask any of your questions. So I had just got back from medical leave, and I decided to go into the firehouse on a Friday night. You know, went to O'Hara's, had a couple pops, found a TV room, got a good night's rest, got up the next day. We had a covering boss from Brooklyn who just got promoted. He comes in, we're doing our rig check in the morning, and something was wrong with the engine. 10 engines, a high pressure pumper. So we drove up to 20 truck, dropped it off, took a spare, came back to the firehouse. And on Saturdays, it was our Super Saturday. We did our big clean of the firehouse. You know, rip everything out, stove apart, fridges, throw everything out. So we do all of that business. We get the phone call that our engine's back to work. So we go over to 20 truck, pick up our engine, drop off the spare. Now we're loading and unloading all of our stuff. Go back to the firehouse, hanging out. A bunch of RFD firefighters were down on a motorcycle ride for 9/11. It was middle of August, you know, they have those things. So I'm outside talking with these guys, and I had the house watch, and in the FDNY, every 3 hours you sit in this little dispatch room. You're responsible for answering the door, towing the companies out, stuff like that. You guys have all this fancy stuff in your firehouses now where you get all these calls automatically. 911 does all your broadcasting for you. I'm outside talking with these guys, and I kind of like to be outside and talking with people because you have some pretty interesting people that came to the firehouse. You get some celebrities, some politicians, RFD. Anybody from Monroe County, I can kind of tell the accent and how you guys talk. It's definitely nasal. Like, this is how I talk like you guys. This is how you guys sound to us. So I'm talking to these guys, and the civilian comes up and goes, "Excuse me, sir, the building's on fire." And I turn around and I'm like, "Oh shit." So I run inside. Our computer system was down, typical New York City stuff. So I hit the companies out. Civilian reports smoke from 130 Liberty Street, Deutsche Bank. So I hit the bells, everybody comes running down. I get into my stuff, left my uniform shirt hanging on the hook with my cell phone, get in the rig. Engine 10, the way that we came out, we were able to take a left out of the firehouse. And if you guys are familiar with downtown Manhattan and my old firehouse, literally 75 feet away from the Trade Center. 10 truck had to go out the firehouse, take a right, and come down Greenwich Street to be able to get to this building. So Deutsche Bank had one access point, and that was on Washington Street. there was an exterior elevator that took the workers up and down, because the core of the building, the elevators, they were tearing the building apart. We come around the corner, and I look out the window and I look up, and I said, oh fuck, we're going to work. Now, 2 times in my times as a fireman, between the volleys and paid, I'd say probably about 23 years, maybe 24 years that I've been in the fire service, I've worn my gear properly twice. Probie school and that day. So, when you look at this building, what do you guys see? Anybody? What do you see? Yeah, so you can see here, Tower 2 fell into the building. This is the deconstruction as they're taking it off floor by floor. This is the view from Washington Street, looking up. We're 15 stories high at this point. That's what I saw when we came around the corner. What's the first thing that's going through your mind?
Oh, fuck.
Exactly, right? Oh shit, oh fuck, wow, we're going to work. What's going on?
Did they do the deconstruction from the bottom up?
So they do it from the top down, so they took floor by floor, and you saw that previous slide. You see those cross sections? They literally strip the floor, take the walls down, and they cut the beams, lower it down, and get rid of it. If you guys looked online and you saw what happened during 9/11, this is West Street, West Side Highway. 93, 9/11, this is pretty much staging for the Trade Center. This is what the scene looked like at 3:39 in the afternoon on a Saturday in August. Same thing as 93 and 9/11. I mean, you look at this picture, what do you see? Like, we gotta get up there. You know it was in the building, you know what's happened to the building before. Are we gonna, is the building gonna fall down on us? This is the view looking into the Trade Center site. So for your reference, here's the Hudson River. Here's Deutsche Bank right here. That's your exterior crane, and then the elevator is right there. They hadn't put that in yet. Yeah, that's your reality. That's what we're going to put out. First thoughts again. You see that, what are you thinking?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, but then you're also like, man, we got a job. We're going to work. Yeah, we're gonna do it. I have a couple videos, so you guys are gonna put yourselves where we were that day. See your exterior elevator? You see the scaffolding and the staircases on that?
Leave it open, not eat it for him.
If I could open it, it would be really good. All right, this is
Wanna do my teeth?
Civilian videos.
This is really good. Oh, what are they
Go ahead, feed him, feed him, feed him. He's taking care of EMS.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really answer my.
So, we came out the firehouse, we came down the street, I looked up. The boss is screaming from the front, where's the standpipe? We had a covering chauffeur from Engine 6 that day. So the crew on the engine was the chauffeur from Engine 6, a lieutenant who will not be named, myself, Dave Cirillo, and Kenny Ruane. Kenny Ruane 37 years in the fire department in New York. There, he worked at 39 and 16. I'm sorry, 33 and 9. Dave Cirillo, 3 months just out of the academy. Me, just on 3 years. What the hell do I know? You know, I was a volley for a long time. I've learned a lot, but when I went to Proby school, I forgot what I learned in the volleys because I need to learn the New York City Fire Department. That's my job. We come out that firehouse and take that turn. I look up there and I tell Dave, put all your shit on the right way. Get your hood on, get your collar flaps down, everything. Be ready to go to work. Our SOPs where we go to the floor below the fire. So they said the fire was on 17. We heard it was on 16. All right, we're going to 15. If the fire's on 16, if the fire's on 17, we got to get to 16. When we got up there, we took that elevator up. We went to the first staircase, and you're going to see some of these slides in there, and you're going to see some of these pictures. And I have a walkthrough that I did a couple days after the fire for a recon, and you'll have a better idea of what we saw when we got up there. Now, being a young fireman, I'm not a 9/11 guy. I just work downtown, but I'm from New York City. So 9/11 destroyed me mentally. I lost 6 friends, including one kid that I went to grammar school with. The guys that I lost were FD&Y, who were volunteers in the Freeport Fire Department out in Nassau County. Imagine going to work and going into those towers and trying to get upstairs and being up there and wondering, is this building gonna fall down on top of me? These floors gonna come down on top of me? And am I gonna go home and see my family? You know, what's gonna happen? That's what went through my mind up there. Same thing with Dave. So we get up there, we go to the first staircase, and we find a standpipe. Well, guess what that standpipe had? It had garden hose attachments and air hose attachments in it. They were doing asbestos abatement. On every other floor, they had these huge units. And you'll see in some of these pictures as we go forward, they had these 5-inch holes, and these units actually sucked in clean air, filtered the bad air, so they can deconstruct these floors. We get up there and see that, and we're following the construction worker that noticed the fire, go to the staircase, try to make our way up, and start cutting this plastic, and we can't get up because it seemed like the staircase was sealed up with heavy timber and steel beams. Like, the hell is this? And we can't use this standpipe, so let's go find another staircase. So we go over to the B stairs, and we found a viable standpipe, and there'll be a picture of that in here. What we do is the control guy, who was Kenny Romaine, the senior guy, and this is how those guys are down there. The senior guys want the junior guys to get the experience. Kenny's been fighting fires his entire life. I wasn't even thought about being born, and this guy was running into burning buildings, you know? He took the control. I had the nozzle, Dave had the backup. So we were set up with engine 4. So our crew consists of 3 2.5-inch roll-ups. Engine 4, same thing, 3 2.5-inch roll-ups. The control guy has standpipe kit. Their job is to stand there and control the water coming up, because that's where in our high-rise fires how we get our water and our pressure up there. So the chauffeur hooked up to the Siamese downstairs. He was flowing water, and he was hooked up. He had a good hydrant. All the chauffeurs were out there helping him, but we're getting nothing upstairs. You know, when you do standpipe operations, you open up the standpipe to make sure there's no needles in there, drugs in there, and stuff like that. And that's what these guys did. Even in the outside connections, they'd store drugs in there and tell people, go pick up your drugs over here, or people stick garbage in cans and stuff in there. We need to make sure we have water. We're up there for about 15 minutes, looking at each other, like, what the hell's going on here? You know, what are we doing? So we noticed that there was some smoke on the 15th floor. Mind you, the bosses had called the truck companies to come up with saws, metal cutting saws, roof cutting saws, so they can gain entry to the fire floor. So we're hanging out. Kenny goes, hey, let's get some windows broken. Now in high rises, there's procedure. You don't take windows in a high rise building. You guys don't have very many high rises up here, but you have the city. And I was telling Lieutenant Yale before, there might come a time where you guys might go into the city of Rochester for a high rise job. You might get a fire on the 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th floor. You guys need to know how they operate, know how to operate in that type of situation. So we don't break windows. The AC system typically will vent some of the smoke out. And if you have to do that, it's pretty bad. So Building under deconstruction, we know what's in the building. Again, I'll stress the 9/11 debris, I'll stress the asbestos. Do I have that crap in my system? I'm pretty sure I do. Am I still alive? Yeah. Am I counting my days? No, I really couldn't care less. I'm happy where I am right now, and if something happens, whatever. We start taking some windows, and we're an engine company, we don't have irons, we don't have all of that stuff. The truck's doing their thing, they're trying to gain entry. We pick up sledgehammers, whatever we find up there, we're breaking windows out. We're letting everybody on the ground know that we're sending stuff down. Give us a little air up there. I can tell you, 21 minutes, we were up there. And the shit hit the fan. And we'll get into that. Here's another video that they recorded, and you can see some of the operations. And believe it or not, it's kind of cool. 55 engine had come down to Greenwich and Liberty and set up right behind 10 truck. The guys from the Rochester Fire Department actually picked up a line off the 55 engine, charged the pump, and started putting out fires from stuff that was falling down from the upper floors, which I think that's kind of good. The guys got work while they were down there.
It was a scene grimly reminiscent of 9/11. An abandoned high-rise at Ground Zero, a blaze on the 17th floor, smoke billowing out, flames of fire licking at the structure, crashing glass cascading down, toxic fumes seeping out. Frightened and confused spectators.
Pretty dramatic, huh?
It took hundreds of New York's bravest and finest to put out the fire. It took them 7 hours. It took 2 of their lives.
The rundown. 130 Liberty Street, Washington and Greenwich. 38-story Class 1, 210 by 320, under demolition. The time is 15:36. I remember it as 15:39. Engine 10, Engine 4, Engine 6, Engine 7, Ladder 10, Ladder 15, the 1st Battalion, Rescue 1, Squad 18, Hazmat 1, the Hazmat Battalion. That was the initial. And I was really kind of hoping to have that audio, and I'm still working on it, but I'm going to read some things from you. This is what, if you guys buff the FDNY frequencies, when they come over with the box alarm and stuff, you hear the initial transmissions. That's what was being said that day. Letter 10 to Manhattan K, give it 1075 for the box. I got heavy smoke coming out from about 20 floors up. Can't give you the exact floor the fire is on. It's a Deutsche Bank building under demolition. Corrected address is 130 Liberty Street K. We all love the Ks, right? Tower Ladder 1 is designated as the fast truck, Battalion 2, Division 1. So our SIDS information, Critical Information Dispatch System, that's what, we get these on our MDTs that tell us what the building is. So the SIDS on that day were as follows: 130 Liberty Street, major alterations, 38-story, 210 by 320, unoccupied, holes in floor and exterior walls from the 1st floor to the 30th floor. Sprinklers are out of service and the standpipe is dry. Enter via the loading dock on Washington Street side. There's asbestos and hazardous materials on all floors. So when I was telling you guys when we came out the firehouse, the engine took the turn in. We were already on our way up there. We're up on there. 10 trucks coming around the corner. Here's Lieutenant Gentilomo's transmission. Ladder 10 of Manhattan transmit a second alarm on my authority for heavy fire coming through the skin K. I didn't need to hear that to know that this was something that I was never going to forget. So on the second alarm, we had 55 engine, 24 engine, 15 engine, 33 engine, 8 truck, 6 truck, engine 9 with the satellite, squad 1, safety officer, battalion 3-2, rescue battalion, field comm, rack unit, car 15, that's Assistant Chief Tom Galvin. Ladder 10 Manhattan, urgent, advise all incoming units be especially careful. We have scaffolding possibly coming down and fire involving numerous floors, K. It was one of the most horrific days of my entire life. We're standing up there, we're wondering what's gonna happen. Is the ceiling gonna come down? Are we gonna get crushed to death? Am I gonna see my family again? Am I Am I gonna make it out of this building? We are doing our job. We are standing by. Now, I'm not telling you guys to do what I did. We had a covering boss. He got promoted. He was from Brooklyn. He's working in Manhattan. He told me and my backup to go on air. Just to pleasure him. We went on air, and then I took my face piece off. I said, Dave, get that shit off. He goes, why? The boss said this. I don't care what he said. We don't know what's going on. We don't know how long we're going to be up here. We do not have access. We do not have water. I would much rather have air to try to figure out how to get the hell out of here. And again, I'm not telling you people to do that. This is what I felt was the right decision in that moment based on where we were. And there's going to come a point in your career that you're going to have to think for yourself, that you might not have your boss around. And in this situation, that's where we were. We had a covering boss that left me and a 3-month probie by ourselves. And I feel like that's my responsibility as his senior guy. Just like Kenny felt it was his responsibility as our senior guy to find us. 21 minutes we're up there. This is when things started to get bad.
Command to the Chinese, watch out!
That's Kenny Ruane, my control guy.
Control, come in.
First day with the clicker. So you hear Kenny and you hear our boss and you hear other people trying to key up. At this point, there were 28 confirmed maydays transmitted on our handy-talkies at the same time. Now the radios these days have come a long way. I do believe all your new radios right now, they've got GPS locators so they can actually identify who's speaking. And if you guys have these command post radios, you can see what's going on and stuff like that. We didn't have that, we had one channel. 28 guys at the same time, because the way that things happen, it's not like you see in Chicago Fire, it's not like you saw on Rescue Me, it's not like you see in any fire department movie. As clear as day right now, within 3 seconds, pitch black, hot, and fire. You go to probie school, you go to the flashover simulator, you know what that looks like, it's pretty cool until you're actually in it. So the reason that that phenomenon happened is because these units, once they forced entry to the 15th floor, those units sucked everything in down onto the 15th floor on us. How are we gonna do? At one point, somebody had said, let's get the search rope because we're gonna get ready to go up there. We're hooked up to a standpipe. Yeah, that's gonna bring us back to safety, but what if we gotta get up there and find out where the fire is? Instead of stretching the line up there first, let's get the search line up there, let's follow the line, this way we have a vantage point, so when the nozzleman goes up, they can get up there. Sir?
Brother, you want this for your house?
What is it?
Bank?
Thank you, very good, sir. I have some history in the county, so. So I kick a hole in the corner of the door frame and I thread the search rope to, anticipating where to go up, but the situation happened where everything banked down, and it banked down quick. I'm following my backup Cirillo out. I was definitely the last guy on that line. I have no idea where our boss is. No clue, absolutely no clue. Shocking. I get to a certain point, and the worst case scenario happens. the ceiling grid comes down. And in that ceiling grid, attached to that are extension cords, some other lines and stuff like that. Doesn't it fall on my bottle? Like, you kidding me right now? I'm in a panic. I am going through air like you have no idea. I've lost Dave's foot. I'm trying to get myself out of this. Now, on my gear, I always kept my gloves on an alligator clip on the front, and I kept a pocket knife right here. I yanked that pocket knife off, tried getting back, serrated blade, nice little Rambo knife. I'm trying to like cut this out. I thrust myself out, now I'm in an open area. This ain't good. I'm in an open area. So you get a little chills right now. Just so you guys know, I live this fire every day of my life. That's why I'm retired. And we'll get into that in a little bit. I thrust myself out and now I'm panicking. And I have no problem sharing this with you, and I said this in Wednesday night at Webster Fire's house. I pissed my pants. Any firefighter in this world that can say they've never pissed their pants in this situation, pardon my French, is a fucking liar. Because I know I'm 15 stories high. I know it's in this building. I don't know where I am. I don't know how the hell I'm getting out. Am I gonna die here? You know, that's what's going through my head. And in a panic, and they tell you not to do this, I did exactly the opposite. I pulled my face piece off. And I buried my face in the floor and I took a breath and another breath. And it burned and it hurt and it was nasty and disgusting and it was a bad feed. I took a very bad feed in there. Besides having wet underoos, I'm trying to figure out what the hell's gonna go on. And then I felt this. I don't know if you guys are spiritual and stuff. I'm not saying that you're gonna find God, but I will say that I believe that my father, who died in 1995, tapped me on the shoulder to tell me calm down. I do really believe in my heart that that's what happened. The reason I believe that is because my father met my mother 3 blocks away at 1 Chase Manhattan Plaza. They got married, my entire family's worked down there, and here I am assigned out of Provy School to a firehouse that I walked past growing up as a little kid with my father when I'd go to work with him on Saturdays. I was able to compose myself enough to get a Mayday out. So, because I don't understand this clicker, I'm gonna play this straight through again. Maybe I could do it this way. There we go, yeah. We can probably fast forward a little bit.
Command the battalion, what? Command the battalion, what?
We'll just let this run for a minute. Hey, you guys listen to this. You hear the chaos? You hear the tones of everybody's voices?
Command the engine 10 officer. Man to engine 10. Hey, this time, Mom. They want to be here that way. Command to engine 1. Want to speak your message, please? We just caught the last part of it. Hi, what's up? That is good, the man with an urgent message.
This is going on my mic, but I'm not hearing any of it. So I'm trying to get the hell out.
Hey, Bonnie, come to the front. Battalion 2 with the unit with the Mayday. Give your location again. I'm on 15 floor. 15 floor. Outside the elevator, but
This is my mayday.
Outside the elevator bank, Mom has squad 1 and squad 18 looking for the track members. What's the conditions in the area right now? And a quick bit of the heavy smoke, heavy fire near the part of the building. They're using search groups to try to locate the members. Who is the missing member?
Me. I managed to get another transmission out. I kind of had an idea where I was. I knew I was on the trade center side of the building. I know a lot of guys transmitted a lot more. The audio version of it they did not get, but on the recorder, there's like a 300-page transcript of all of our recordings from that day. Pretty much every one of us went to court and did a deposition and talked to them, and they wanted to know our accounting of things because they were looking to hang somebody up, you know. I was amazed that when I went in there and I sat there for 2 hours and I described exactly what I went through, and they put out the transcript in front of me with engine 10 nozzles, transmissions, and everything that I said in that report. There was only 3 recordings that they got. My original Mayday, that, and then at the end, when we were doing a roll call trying to find people. What's going through your heads right now? I'd like to know what's going through your heads. Raise your hand, just talk out. What are you thinking at this point? What I've told you so far, what's going through your heads?
Just absolute chaos. Everything's a mess.
Yeah,
I'm fucked.
yeah, exactly.
Where's your partner?
Exactly. He's on his way out, I know that. But what am I supposed to do? I'm following him, I get caught up. We have a radio, you know, hopefully, but we don't know how bad this really is. We don't know what the hell's going on. We didn't know that this phenomenon was gonna happen as quick as it did. That's where the fire started. Somebody burned in a bogey, dumped it. It was a Saturday. They had some people working in the building, lit that on fire. Yeah, that was the fire area. How hot that fire got, that's not manipulated in any way. That's the beams. That's how hot that fire got up there. Because those windows were sealed, there was plastic in the building, and those units sucked everything down. There's our standpipe. Look at the walls. There's the standpipe in the basement that they cut. That was what the problem was. The construction workers cut the standpipe in the basement from the Siamese, so our chauffeur is pumping water into the building. At this point, there should be more than enough water up there. We should have been able to get up through those doors, knock that fire down, and everything would be okay. But the worst case scenario happened. While we were transmitting Maydays and being trapped down there, the guys on the 14th floor were trying to force entry to get up to us. We couldn't go down, we couldn't go up. The only way out was the exterior elevator. Well, when they forced entry from 14 going up, what happened? The same effect on 15. Sucked down onto 14. So Bobby Badia had come up, and when FDNY needs manpower, they'll hire guys from outside of the division, the battalion, or the borough. So we had a guy from 157 truck in Brooklyn. And you know, the Brooklyn Fire Department, you know, they don't deal with high rises. So he went to go work at 24 and 5, and they switched up their positions before they got to the job. They want to put him on the control. And typically, if you come from a different firehouse, a different area, either your Detail is gonna be your backup, or it's gonna be the control. If they're a Manhattan guy, they're gonna take the control automatically. If they're out of Manhattan, they're gonna be on the backup line. So they're backing up our Nozzle guy, and the control guy is gonna be a senior guy. They switched out, and the guy from 157 wound up taking the control. Bobby and Joey were the guys actually moving in. So on the 14th floor, they had these turnstiles, and sadly, I don't have a picture of them, but if you remember, like in movies and stuff, they had these metal turnstiles and stuff. That's what was on these elevator floors where the banks were, because they actually kept gold and money in this building. So they hadn't gotten down to that floor yet. So Joey had gotten up, and he started moving to try to find an access staircase. Some of these buildings in Manhattan, they'll have a company that's got like 4 or 5 floors, and they'll build access stairs in between. So the employees can go up and down them. That's something that a lot of people don't know, but Manhattan firefighters know, you don't have to take the elevator core, you can take a staircase up. That's what he was looking for. But when that phenomenon hit, they got jammed up too, and they got lost. Bobby got caught up in the turnstile, while the guy from 157 truck, who was control, was in the staircase. A few days after the fire, we did a recon of the building. Senior guy from my house, Sal Agano, took himself offline, and Chief Woods was in charge of the Deutsche Bank site. So I said, Sal, I really need to walk through that building. I want to go through, and I want to see where I was. I needed for myself to know. Now, I'll get into that, but I'm walking around like, I'm FDNY. I just went to a job. Like, yeah, I got trapped in a Mayday. I went to a really good job, but holy shit, people died. And they died trying to find us. So I begged him, and he's like, let's do it. So we Tyvek suit up, respirators, and did a walkthrough. You're gonna hear my accounting of when we went up there. You're gonna see where the ceiling came down on me and the little dirt pile. You're gonna see where I saw where I got pulled out of and stuff like that, so. Notice the plastic on the walls?
What floor is this, sir?
This is 15. And no sir here, I'm brother. You guys, no sirs here. Not today, not now. But look at all this stuff all over the place. Look at that fire, look at everything that's gonna go on fire, which on the other floors did.
I have the plastic. So we came in here. This is the standpipe, the first standpipe we checked.
People turn the light off in here. Yeah, is that better, so you can get a better idea? Because that's what it looked like. Did you notice the sprinkler attachments?
And so that, and this is where we cut. This is where we started cutting plastic and realized that it was plywood. So then we said, shit, we made our way back down.
So here's your elevator floor. It's the center of the building. See those square boxes? That's all Trade Center, all asbestos, all really bad stuff.
Then he said, can I take those windows? And he did it, came over and took these. So there was fire coming up over there. Came back this way. Hung out over here. Raised the wall up. Then gentle wall wanted to go up, so we hit the hole in the wall there.
Remember I told you guys about the search light?
And we just kind of hung out here until like, the blood cells were filled. We started the length. Guy over there was pulling the ceiling.
There was a guy from 8 truck in the corner by the window, That's what I remember.
He turned around and started coming out this way.
So at this point, that situation happened.
I think this is the pile of garbage. It might have been the pile of garbage before the
That's where I got caught on and where the ceiling come down.
Yes, sir. So, came over here. You know where the hell everybody was. These guys came down to my left. They went a little this way. And at some point, they must have come back this way. I was right here. Heard the air coming in, pulled over that way. So that capital spot that was over here, I was only 10 feet away from the exit. I was right freaking here by the hoses. So I remember feeling the hoses. Walked back around this way, didn't feel anything. And heard guys like right over here screaming, this is the way out. Went back out over this way, and then saw a light up there. And this is where the cat pulled me out, right up there.
Look at that light. What do you think? Does that put that into perspective a little bit? Yeah.
What were you trying to make it to?
I was trying to get out.
Okay.
So we got up there, and there's some other pictures that I'll explain it. We need to get the hell out of that floor because we're gonna die. But where that dirt pile was, the ceiling grid and the extension cords, and you see how this stuff is hanging? That's what they do in these buildings. They got shit hanging everywhere. This is all a hazard for us. You guys go through your maze. You know, I'm impressed with the maze you guys got here. I know the one thing that stood out was that electrical box that's mounted on the outside. That's definitely something that's gonna jam your bottle up. You know, it's something that can also cut your strap on your pack, you know? This is all stuff that could jam us up and kill us. Look, at this point, I just want to get the hell out. I need to find my backup. I need to get to safety. We need to figure out, we need to regroup, figure out what we're gonna do next. All these boxes, when they would take the stuff off the walls and off the pipes and stuff, asbestos, 9/11 dust, all that stuff, because the building was sealed up right after 9/11, and that black shroud, if you go back and you look at the anniversaries and how they pan the site, that shroud was on there, keeping everything from getting out. Every floor was a storage unit, you know, where they kept materials for the deconstruction. And this is all stuff that went on fire on other floors. We don't know what's in these boxes, you know, that they're bringing up. Is it flammables in there and stuff? We treated the building like a hazmat situation, you know. Again, other floors. And look at, this is all stuff that can get you jammed up. And you run out of air, you know what? You can die. This is just some of the chaos from the radio, and you'll hear there's an hour and 30-something minutes of transmissions, and there's some stuff in here, and you know what? I'm hoping to put the fear of God into you and let you guys all know that just because you're wearing a t-shirt, just because you're assigned someplace, it is a job, but this job will kill you. It can kill you, it can hurt you physically, mentally, and it's serious. The most important thing for all of you is when you're in this probing class and you're learning, you listen to your instructors, you listen to the senior guys. When you get to the firehouse, you listen to the senior guys. They tell you, take that crap out of your pockets. There's a reason. And I'm gonna go over some things with you in a little bit. The reason that I like talking about this is, one, it helps me mentally. This is 2007. I didn't start having the effects of this fire in 2012. And it was a nightmare scenario. Not only in 2012 did I lose everything to Hurricane Sandy in 20 minutes, I started having nightmares, horrific nightmares, that I actually crawled out of my apartment into a street, thinking that I was in this building crawling around. It got me good. It got me really good. I'm not sleeping. I'm not eating. I'm drinking in an excess. And some of you might know me as the big drink guy. Behind closed doors, life sucked. I was stuck home for 1.5 years on medical leave because of the medications that they gave me. They screwed my brain up so bad. I was a liability to the city of New York. I couldn't drive a department vehicle. I couldn't work in a firehouse. I literally sat home Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. unless I had a doctor's appointment to, go to the doctor and stuff like that. That's where I was in limbo because the job retired me. Now, something I want to share with you all is firefighter mental health. Look, we're all tough guys, every one of us. Every one of us has a breaking point. Every one of us has a weak point. It is my recommendation and suggestion that if you guys go to a call, you go to a bad fire, somebody passes away, and somebody will pass away that you work with or you've worked around in your career. It happens, and if it doesn't, God bless. If you ever need to talk to someone, that kitchen table at the firehouse is the most important place in the world. Every single male and female that sits at that table, if you can't figure out what's going on at that table and you have to go outside to talk to somebody, do not be ashamed. Do not be scared. Do not worry what other firefighters might think of you. Okay? You go talk to somebody, but I would recommend you do it with cash out of your pocket. And the reason I say that is the way that the world is today. It is fact that some firefighters are held up from promotions because of their mental state that an organization can hold back. We're not going to promote this guy because, they're going to a psychiatrist or they're taking medication. Pay out of pocket. Talk to the guys at the firehouse. I think there's enough support, especially in this county, that you guys can get through anything together. I live this every day. I have taken medications that would drive you guys nuts. I am now off all of those medications because of the support network with the Brotherhood. Because of doing stuff like this and sharing my experience with all of you. That I hope I put the fear of God in you, but I also hope you take something from this. And when you go to your assigned stations, your firehouses and stuff, you share this with them. And the next generation of firefighters say, remember that guy come in and talk about that fire in the city of Rochester, that guy come in and talk about that fire in the city of New York. Man, job is serious. So this is just some of the radio traffic during this whole nightmare.
Where are you? Anyway, you need help. What floor are you on? Floor below.
God bless you.
Command to the rescue battalion. 2-4. Battalion, go ahead. Jack, we have a good accounting of everybody. I'm getting conflicting messages. We will look at everybody from Mission 4, Engine 10, Ladder 10, Ladder 15, Rescue, and the squad. Do we have everybody down this way? You wanted security 4. What about the squad? I'm missing one man. Who's reporting that missing one man? Rescue 2. I can't. Where are you right now? We're on 14. What are you missing? Man to rescue 2 officers. George, who are you missing? Dan, man. George, you know his name? Golly. Dan, rescue 2 Dan. George, what floor was he on last? Steve. What? Nick O'Neill.
What do you think? While you're operating, you're listening. But you hear some things in there. What floor was he on? The floor below. What floor? What floor below are you? Where were you last? Do you know what floor you were on? That was one of the problems we had in this building. The way that we numbered floors in a building is based on the building. This place down there at Deutsche Bank had like a 3 or 4 story foyer. You walk in, holy crap, it's nice. Same thing with the Trade Center, really nice. But we start counting the floors above that. So the construction company had counted the floors, that being the first floor, the next floor being the second, third, fourth. And as it got up, it changed the numbers of the floors. So the guys are looking, the only place that the floors were the exterior elevator and in the staircases. I told you, but they were wrong. The scaffolding on the outside of the building was 4 to 6 feet away from the building. When the shit hit the fan, and there's some other audio Guys had to take windows and bail head first out. A lot of guys got hurt, their careers ended from diving out in gear. They had their PSSs on a substantial object so they didn't fall to their death. Jumping out to those scaffolds and had to climb down this exterior staircase. 10 Truck was able to get up there and give those guys a way back down to the ground. That was after I got out. And I was young, dashing, skinny, and now I'm just old, fat, and out of shape. So this is my backup, Dave Cirillo. There's me, there's Daniel Ruiz, EMS guy, and this is a friend of one of the guys that was at the firehouse visiting. Grabbed the cooler from the rig and brought it over, and this is kind of where we staged. I got that as a text tone and a ringtone as a reminder that bad things happen, but better things are ahead. I remember it. I remember the person that I've become since then. I've taken a horrible tragedy and I've transformed it into something that can help the next generation. And that's why I'm very thankful that Lieutenant Yale was able to get me out here to talk to you guys, because I felt it was important to share that. And again, like, I have the reputation of being the big drinker, but I've been sober since December 25th. But I did drink on Monday night, but I had to. This is a lot. I'm not drinking today, but I do have something to give, and I hope you guys take a lot home with you from this. So yeah, we definitely got on oxygen. I mean, it's the look of shock. It's the look of, what the fuck just happened? When the captain from Squad 18 found me with the camera, literally threw me out onto this platform where the elevator deck was, and I pulled everything off, and I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe what just happened. Now I'm hearing this. That's the guys that made a loop when they followed the wall, and they are now on their way back the way that I was when I got pulled out. So truck comes up, they drop tools, I grab an irons, I grab a hook, I'm trying to pull this plywood out, and there's pictures of that. We started getting guys out one by one. Kenny Ruane, the senior guy, grabbed me, Dave, and Danny, and threw us onto the elevator and said, get him down. We got downstairs. Remember I said earlier I didn't have my cell phone? Usually I carry my phone with me. I saw a civilian said, I need your phone right now. Call my mom. I'm like, and if I break up a little bit, I'm sorry. I'm like, Mom, I'm okay. She's watching it on the news. My aunt and my cousin had just left the firehouse an hour earlier. And here my mom is sitting at home watching this fire, knowing 75 feet away from the entrance to my firehouse. I had something in place where a buddy of mine knew I was working. He went over and stayed with my mom, and I made it very clear that if something happens to me, do not come to the city. Stay home. My buddy Craig was there. My buddy John me and him were talking and stuff. At that point, we didn't know we were going to the hospital, but I took a good amount of smoke, definitely CO. It definitely fucks you up, part of my French. I mean, look at Danny. You know, you see pictures, you see his nose, he's got that in. Pretty much all of us ran out of air at some point. Pretty much all of us breathed in all of that stuff. This here is a reminder that you can go to work and things can get really, really bad really quick. This is when they found Bobby. think?
Chilling stuff.
And that was one. And about 15 minutes later, they heard another pass alarm going off. And that was Joey. Way in. Just an idea, construction lights. They can be in a warehouse that if they're building a new Wegmans or something, or there's a fire and they're gonna take things down, stuff like that's gonna be around. Look at your cords, look at the ceilings, look at the freaking debris in the middle of an open room. All of that crap right there will get caught on you, especially when you can't see. Here's your trap doors. Steel beams, heavy wooden timber. The problem was, on the 16th floor, they had heavy timber and steel beams sitting on top of the trap door. The companies had to cut through all of that crap. We didn't know that that existed because it was all covered in plastic. So when I first got in there, I started cutting. The Nozzle guy in the FDNY pretty much chases the boss. The boss says, you do this. My job is to find the fire if there's no truck. I gotta keep an eye on that boss. And those bosses are fast, man. Like, you get off the rig, you're gonna watch and see where they're going. They're gonna find the fire first. You bring it in. He tells me, cut this, let's cut it, let's do it. I was proactive. I'm looking around, I'm noticing things. And that's something as a firefighter you do. You look around and notice things. You base it on your training, what you learn in class, what you learn from the senior guys, what you learn from past jobs. Here's the view of the trapdoor going down. Does that look like enough room for a fully encapsulated firefighter to get in and out of? Yeah, you can get through that. You might have to slide your bottle to the side. What about your equipment and stuff? Yeah, you can do that. These damn things were covered, and we didn't know it. It wasn't really our fault. We were told not to go in the building. Like I spoke about earlier with the cover up and stuff like that. Job said don't go in. Turned around and said, yeah, we didn't do our job. Guys got in trouble, guys got lifted. But this was part of the weird shit that was in that building on the lower floors, and I couldn't believe it. They had actually framed up the staircases, and the plywood little path was like literally this wide. Like, it doesn't make any sense. How are you going up and down these things in gear? But we couldn't get from the ground floor up because of all of these weird things. What's that look like? Yeah, you can't see anything. You're trying to get out. You're trying to find a wall. That's 15 stories to your death. Or if you got a bunch of guys and you're all following each other and you're trying to get out, trying to regroup, somebody's going out that thing. These are the kind of hazards. Another one. This thing right here was the support for the elevator. You will go down that. You will fall down that. The view outside, that's the trade center. As they started opening it up and they started rebuilding everything down there. So when I told you guys when we came up, and it goes into size up now too, when you get there, you gotta kind of keep your eyes open and look around and see what's going on. We get off the elevator, that's the first thing that I see. Minus that thing being open, what the hell are those things for, you know? Well, we found out later that that's the intakes and the exhaust for the asbestos abatement units. This is where they opened up, where a guy that was following the left wall out, and those guys started making their way back and missed the way out. They came back along that way and had to crawl out through that. Now you got all those hoses in there, you get wrapped up in that, you're out of air, you're panicking, and listen, you're gonna panic. I don't think there's a firefighter in this country that can't say that they haven't at least panicked once in a situation, but they got their composure again because they're getting the proper training. They're hearing experiences where they can burn that into their minds. This is what they opened up to get the guys out. So this is the deck for the exterior elevator floor. The trucks had to cut this all open. That was my view out. I was only 5-6 feet away, and the captain from squad come in with his camera, found me, grabbed me, threw me out like a sack of potatoes. Remember I told you about the floors? We marked the floor as 13. The construction company had the floor marked as 8. They're telling us the fire is on 17 when in reality it was on 16 down to 15. You know, this is the kind of stuff that you have to be cognizant of. if your departments go out and do building inspections, or you get some kind of new construction going on, it's a great idea to go through your district and know what's going on. Have an idea what that inside structure looks like. So on the recon, you know, the guys would go through and spray paint all the floors. We put rest in pieces up all over the place. Another floor, scaffolding, like no lights working, you know, you get lost very easily in there. That right there is gonna ruin your whole day. If you're trying to get out, you're trying to get to safety, you see everything that you can get caught up on. That's Deutsche Bank. That's what happened August 18th, 2007. I went to those 2 funerals. And I'll tell you, it sucked. But the reality of what we all experienced that day didn't take effect for years. Now, you saw the video of me going through on the recon. It's amazing what your mind will block out. It's amazing what your mind will put to give a little bit more perspective on what you experienced, on your trauma. I listen to these transmissions, and every year on the anniversary, I'll go into a bar and I'll put 2 shots up on the bar. I'll either go out into the lake, I'll listen to the transmissions, and believe it or not, I hear things that I don't remember, or I'll hear things that'll help me research and figure out what was going on at this point. 5 guys have died since Deutsche Bank. 2 have killed themselves because of that fire. 1 that took his own life, worked 9/11, lost the whole crew, and worked Deutsche Bank and lost 2 more guys from the same company. That's when you get back into your mental health. This job's great. It's the greatest job in the world. I miss it every single day. My basement looks like it threw up the FDNY. My car's got stickers on it. My Facebook has pictures of me from back in the day. I look at these things and I think about the greatest times of my life, but then I look back at some of the most scariest times of my life. The scariest time of my entire life. I went back to the firehouse, and we was all mandatory counseling after that. Dave and I got sent to Beekman Hospital down by Engine 6. We went in about 5:30 at night. I got released at 12:30. I cursed out Mayor Bloomberg in front of Steve Cassidy, our union rep, because I was in a hospital bed with the 115 other firefighters. You should have seen the look on Steve Cassidy's face. I'm like, the building's a fucking death trap. The fire commissioner's standing there, Mayor Bloomberg's standing there. Cassidy's like this, Jesus Christ, I can't believe you just said that to our mayor and our commissioner. Scapata's just kind of standing there nodding his head, Mr. Magoo and everything like that, and I'm retired, so I'm not gonna get jammed up or anything. I couldn't care less, but what I experienced that day is something that I have to live with the rest of my life. The control guy from 157 who was working at 24/5 that day, one of his senior guys, Donnie Wunderlich, was one of my instructors at Proby School. So he come through and saw me. When you see one of your instructors from Proby School in a hospital, it's something that you will never forget your entire life. Let's take who's got to hit the head? We got 15, 20 more minutes. You guys want to take a break, grab water, go hit the head quick. We could finish that story up. You know, you guys think, go ahead, do what you got to do. Think of questions and stuff. You got me until